Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. Brian Winnikins from Commodity Classic. This is the WRDN Morning Farm Report. Thank you to our Commodity Classic sponsors, including O'Galley Grain Company, Amplify Health of Mondovi, Wisconsin Soybean Marketing Board, Wisconsin Corn Growers Association, Annabis Silo Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, Compeer Financial, and Alcivia Co-op. All joining us, Tony Mellenthin, those of you watching on our YouTube channel, of course, with O'Galley Grain Company. And also, he was past president of Wisconsin Soybean Association. He's now on the United Soybean Board, and he hasn't had a lot of chance to go down, I think, to the floor or to do any type of touring of San Antonio, the warm weather, because you've been busy with a lot of meetings.
Yeah, busy meeting week for us. I think I've seen the Riverwalk. I haven't been on it, and I've been on the floor, but to no booths. How about that? So,
Well, I think your dad back at home is probably going, good, he's not coming home with 10,000 different things.
yeah, yep. No purchases made this week. Let's put it that way.
At least not yet. When we did this interview, there's still time. There's still time. Well, you just got out of a United Soybean Board meeting on exports, the Export Council. Let's talk about, what did you guys talk about? I'm sure tariffs were one of the big topics.
Yeah, it was a panel. The four partners that were on that panel were USAPEC, USMEF, WISH, and USEC. So our four main export partners, and it was just about our comprehensive export strategy for U.S. soy. Initially you think about whole soybeans, and that's USEC and WISH. However, also you have our meat export partners, the USAPEC, the USA Poultry and Egg Export Council, and USMEF, U.S. Meat Export Federation. And there's a lot of talk about a downtick in soybean exports, which is whole soybeans may be down a little bit, but when you look at the whole soy complex, soybean meal, soybean oil, we're actually very, very strong year to date. And one important statistic, if you throw in the amount of soybean meal that gets exported via our meat partners, we still, as the United States soybean farmers, export 70% of our crop through all those different avenues.
So that makes any of these trade issues, it can almost multiply themselves because it's more than just the whole soybean, or it's more than just the oil. And then there's all these other products. And so, like we're talking about USMEF, well, that it could, that's a multiplying factor here.
Right. I think the important part with these organizations that they do a great job of, it's a long-term strategy. Yes, there's ebbs and flows with trade, especially regarding trade policy, but it's a long-term strategy of differentiating U.S. product and U.S. soybeans based on quality, carbon intensity, sustainability, you name it. And so, although we certainly have ebbs and flows, and you cannot ignore China. They're 60% of the global soybean trade. You cannot ignore them. But that also means we have the right to allocate our investments where we or deem will have the highest return.
Talking with Tony Mullithan. Again, he's with O'Galley Grain Company and also a member of the United Soybean Board. And he had a chance, he's been pretty busy here at the Commodity Classic. So, Tony, the trade deals are important. We know that. But it sounds to me like the way the United Soybean Board is working and with all of these other partners, the relationships overseas actually are more important.
Absolutely. And, as we talk to customers overseas, there are absolutely quality differences between U.S. and South American soybeans. China has fulfilled its 12 million metric ton commitment. By doing that, they've emptied out their storage so they can put our soybeans in storage because Brazilian soybeans you can't store. When you take Brazilian soybeans, you need to utilize them right away. A great example of a country is Egypt. They are the number 4 destination for U.S. soybeans. We have a market share of over 90%. And that's because they recognize the quality of U.S. soybeans. They don't want to use soybeans that are not U.S. soybeans. The little bit that they seek elsewhere, it's just the dynamics of the ebbs and flows of the global shipping, where sometimes there is a little lag where they need to fill it with soybeans of competitors.
Talking with Tony Mellenthin this morning from Commodity Classic. As as these products have all changed, it it's like, wow, these things 20 years ago, we didn't think too much of it. Is that the other part of this, that there's something always new? I guess I'll use the firefighting foam. It just got approved in the state for the grants. But who'd have thought 10 years ago you and I would have been sitting down to do an interview here at Commodity Classic, and I say, hey, we're going to have some firefighting foam made from soybeans. You probably would have looked at me like, Brian, you were out on the river walk for just a bit too long last night. But is that another key part of this?
Yeah, absolutely. At the United Soybean Board, we have a wide array of investments. Exports is one. We also invest in industrial new uses. That soybean firefighting foam is one. Using soybean oil as a petroleum replacement in Goodyear tires, Skechers rubber soles. Um, uh, you name it, soybean oil and asphalt sealant, concrete sealant. I mean, you name it, it just goes on and on and on. And each day, there are certain products that we are investing in, we're looking at that I can't go more into depth on, but honestly, look like they might have a pretty bright future.
Uh-oh, he can't tell us it's a military secret. Otherwise, we'd end up in the Riverwalk if he did. So I guess we'll have to wait. That's going to be maybe for next year's Commodity Classic. So I have to ask back home. No one's going to be in the field on when they haven't been in the field when we've had 50-degree temperatures yet, have they?
Not to my knowledge.
Ready for spring planting?
Yeah, we are. We've brought most of our equipment through the shop already, so our equipment is ready to go. We really just need Mother Nature to warm up for us. I mean, it's February. It's the end of February. We're still over a month out before really anything of substance even usually starts happening.